For weeks, Caitlyn Clark became the target of constant on-court aggression, and the WNBA said nothing. Fans were furious. Commentators danced around the topic, and the silence grew louder. Then, finally, that silence broke, not by the league, but by some of the NBA's biggest icons. This wasn't PR talk or a polite compliment. It was raw, emotional, and direct. Steph Curry, LeBron James, Luka Dončić, and others weren't just admiring her talent. They were defending her after witnessing the unfair treatment firsthand. Steph, especially, had reached his limit. He'd seen the hits, felt the disrespect, and when he spoke, the entire basketball world stopped to listen. When a legend like Curry says enough is enough, people pay attention. And he wasn't alone. Multiple NBA All-Stars publicly stated what millions already knew. Caitlyn Clark isn't hype. She's a superstar being unfairly targeted, and it needs to stop. Then came the twist. Pascal Siakam was asked about which athlete receives the most love. Everyone expected a safe, simple answer. But instead, Siakam shocked everyone. He brought up Caitlyn Clark, comparing her popularity and impact not just to WNBA players, but to stars in the NBA itself.
Oh man, Caitlyn she's a beast, man. Like, and they love her. So I'll probably say Caitlyn Clark. I love Tyrese, but she's another level in terms of just the love that she has.
Let that sink in. Pascal Siakam wasn't comparing Caitlyn Clark to other WNBA players. He compared her to his NBA teammate Tyrese Haliburton, one of the flashiest guards in the league, and still said Caitlyn's the one getting the most love. That's not just praise, that's recognition. A wake-up call for anyone pretending the WNBA doesn't matter. You know someone's influence is real when their name comes up in NBA conversations. Siakam could have named anyone, but he said Caitlyn Clark. That's not hype, that's history. She's broken the invisible wall between the WNBA and NBA, and stars like Pascal are taking notice. He didn't need to say it, but he did, and that says it all. Then came Obi Toppin, a man of few words but big respect. His comments on Caitlyn weren't rehearsed, they were raw. It wasn't PR talk, it was admiration. The kind you give to someone changing the game itself. What makes Obi's comment powerful isn't his wording, it's his honesty. He talked about Caitlyn and the WNBA like equals, not an afterthought.
Yeah, Caitlyn's amazing. Super amazing. She's a great player. Having her be courtside and watching our games is awesome. We see the excitement that she has on the sides, but just like she's doing that, we do the same. Like when they're playing, like it's so much. It's a joy to watch.
NBA players celebrate her success, just like they celebrate their own. That mutual respect is rare, and it matters. Seeing Caitlyn sitting courtside with NBA stars isn't just a photo op anymore. It's proof she belongs. It's no longer a celebrity sighting. It's basketball recognizing basketball. She's not just a women's player. She's a hooper, period. And then there's Tyrese Haliburton. He didn't just hype Caitlyn because they share Indiana. He did it because he's seen her resilience up close. Every day, under pressure, facing criticism, she never flinches. His respect wasn't local pride. It was earned recognition from one professional to another. In top 5 most famous players, period. That's Tyrese Haliburton, an NBA All-Star, putting Caitlyn Clark in the same sentence as LeBron, Steph, and Jokic. And it wasn't exaggeration, it was fact. He sees the numbers, the media storm, and the global attention. Tyrese knows what it's like to be the face of a franchise.
She's, I think for me, getting to actually spend time around her, be around her, get to know her personally, she's just an amazing person, an amazing player. She deals with a lot there's a lot of rhetoric behind her that she really has no control over, and I think that the way she handles that is just amazing. Like, I think when it comes to the game of basketball, like, she's probably top 5 most famous people that are playing right now, just in general. That includes our league as well.
And he knows Caitlyn's carrying even heavier pressure as a sophomore. What people miss is the empathy in his words. He's not just protecting her image, he's defending her humanity. Tyrese sees the hate, the unfair scrutiny, and the noise she never asked for, and he's saying the world needs to give her credit. And when LeBron James stepped in with his thoughts on Caitlyn, the world stopped. Because when the greatest of his generation speaks, people listen. LeBron wasn't just defending Caitlyn Clark, he was defending progress. He's been where she is, the target, the pressure, the impossible expectations. He knows what it means when one player changes how an entire league travels, markets, and grows. That's legacy-level impact. Maybe that's why he sees a bit of himself in Caitlyn. The poise, the resilience, the ability to thrive when everyone's watching. She didn't just earn his fandom, she earned his respect.
Because everybody is looking for you to say anything, and they're gonna splice it and cut it and make it a negative thing. And I think for her, the one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. They flew private. That should be celebrated in its own right.
Then Trae Young stepped up, one of basketball's boldest shooters, and challenged her to a three-point contest. Same swagger, same confidence, but you could hear the admiration in his voice. It wasn't just competition, it was recognition. A real hooper acknowledging another in her prime. Here's the stat Trae couldn't ignore. Only 2 players in NCAA history have led the nation in both points and assists in a single season, and Caitlyn's one of them. That's not trivia, that's greatness. Trae didn't fake his praise or play it cool. He gave genuine respect from one generational shooter to another. He even admitted he'd need extra reps to beat her in a shootout. That's as real as it gets. Caitlyn isn't just part of the conversation. She is the conversation. Trae gets it. Paul George gets it too. When he spoke about her, it wasn't fluff or clickbait. It was perspective.
You were hype about Steph and Sabrina. I know that you have spoken about Caitlyn Clark. You're a big Caitlyn Clark fan.
Oh, yeah.
She, of course, is an excellent shooter. Would you ever do like a Caitlyn Trae three-point contest at All-Star?
Of course I would. I've gotten to talk to her too throughout her college years. We're the only 2 people that ever led college in points and assists. That's a crazy stat. I'd have to definitely practice a lot more than I have for these previous 3-point competitions. Nah, I'd be ready for sure. I'd do it.
He looked beyond stats and highlights, digging into what her rise truly means for the culture of the game. Paul George wasn't criticizing Caitlyn. He was explaining the shift she's created. By calling her an instant change, he confirmed what everyone's seeing. But he also reminded people of the veterans, the women who built the stage she's now shining on, the ones who played in empty gyms, who didn't get cameras or charter flights. He wasn't excusing their frustration, he was humanizing it. Because when someone new walks in and becomes the face of a league overnight, it's bound to sting a little, even if she earned it. Paul showed that this moment isn't just about basketball, it's about change. Then Luka Dončić, blunt, honest, and filter-free, said what everyone else was thinking. No hesitation, no PR, just truth. His words made it clear.
You gotta put it in perspective, right? These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's gonna be girls that are offended by that.
That pause, that shift in tone, it wasn't shade, it was standard setting. Luka didn't deny Paige's skills, but his message was clear. Caitlyn Clark is doing it right now on the professional stage, and that's what truly counts. She's not just a college highlight machine or a March Madness legend. She's out there battling, getting hit, making plays, and still dominating. Luka's words carried weight, the kind that only comes from a real hooper who's been through it. He knows how hard it is to go from prodigy to proven. So when someone like Luka gives that kind of nod, it's not just praise, it's validation. She's proven herself. She's here. In his eyes, she's already that player. He's seen the hate, the silence from the league, and then came Steph Curry. The most respected voice in basketball decided it was time to speak up. His comments didn't just defend Caitlyn Clark, they sent a message across the entire basketball world.
Who's your favorite women's basketball player?
Caitlin Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like Paige Buchers?
Well, she's okay. I didn't see her playing the women's NBA, so.
That wasn't just support, that was a statement. When Steph Curry speaks like that, everyone listens. The whole league has to. But Steph didn't stop with words of defense. He went deeper, breaking down Caitlyn's game like only he could. Her range, her rhythm, her confidence, the kind of fearless energy that reminded him of himself. And when he said it, you could feel the respect in every word. Listen again. Steph Curry, the greatest shooter of all time, said Caitlyn's shot rivals his own. That's not hype. That's recognition from the top of the mountain. But what made it even more powerful was that he didn't stop there. He called her a performer, someone who reads the floor, makes smart passes, and controls the game with poise. Caitlyn Clark isn't just catching Steph's eye, she's earning his respect. And that means something, because when the player who changed the entire sport says,
I'm sick of watching Caitlyn getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
you've got the full game, that's not a compliment. That's him handing over the torch. But while some stars praised her, others stayed quiet. Jason Tatum's silence said more than words ever could. When asked who his favorite WNBA player was, he had a perfect moment to recognize Caitlyn Clark, but instead he gave a cold, empty answer that told its own story.
I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. And it hurt just confidence out of you can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. It's crazy though, just because her shot is like that, it's at that level. If you really watch, like, her floor game is as impressive, so it's kind of the total package.
That was it. No energy, no explanation, no respect. Aya Wilson is great, a champion, a force. But this wasn't about praising her. It was about ignoring Caitlyn Clark, the one player who's carried the WNBA into a new era, boosted ratings, filled arenas, and inspired millions. And Tatum, one of the NBA's brightest stars, acted like she didn't exist. That wasn't just a mischance. It was a message. I see you, but I don't care. Caitlyn doesn't need fake applause. She's earned everything through hard work and perseverance. She's been snubbed, fouled, mocked, and still keeps performing with class. After all that, Tatum couldn't even say her name? That's not oversight, that's disrespect. Then came Kevin Durant, another global icon with a voice that shapes the sport. When asked about his favorite female athlete, everyone expected him to say Caitlyn Clark. But instead, he went in a different direction, and it spoke volumes.
Favorite WNBA player? Asia Wilson.
Without hesitation, KD dropped his answer, and it wasn't Caitlyn Clark. That wasn't an accident. Caitlyn's been the story of the year, smashing records, selling out stadiums, changing how people see the WNBA. She's faced criticism, hard fouls, and unfair treatment, yet she's never cracked. And still, Durant didn't mention her. He chose her biggest rival instead. That wasn't random, it was deliberate. Angel Reese is good, but she's not Caitlyn Clark. So when one of the most influential players on the planet chooses to uplift her rival, it's not just an opinion, it's a statement. A quiet, calculated, I'm not backing her. And that's the problem. When stars like KD stay quiet or subtly dismiss Caitlyn, it only strengthens the resistance she's been fighting from the start. Yet despite it all, she's still changing the game, forcing reactions, breaking barriers, and making people uncomfortable in the best way. Caitlyn Clark isn't just making waves. She's rewriting what greatness looks like. And the truth is, she's only getting started. As the season dust settles and the headlines begin to fade, one undeniable truth remains. Caitlyn Clark has rewritten the rules of modern basketball. What began as a college sensation has erupted into a cultural awakening, a force so powerful that even the NBA can't ignore it. From Pascal Siakam acknowledging her as more beloved than his own, to Tyrese Haliburton boldly placing her among the top 5 most famous players in the world, the tone has shifted. She isn't being treated like a token success story. She's being recognized as an equal. LeBron James didn't just applaud her game, he defended her impact. Steph Curry didn't just compliment her range. He saw himself reflected in her. The precision, the fearlessness, the gravity. Luka Dončić didn't sugarcoat his words. He made it clear. Caitlyn Clark is doing it now, at the pro level, night after night, under pressure that would crush most. Trae Young admired her confidence and called her out like a peer, ready for a 3-point showdown. Paul George dissected her effect on the sport and reminded the world that her rise represents something much deeper. A shift in culture, a challenge to the old guard. Even in the silence of Jason Tatum and the shade from Kevin Durant, Caitlyn's name still thundered louder than anything they didn't say. Because real greatness doesn't ask for validation. It creates it. Through every hard foul, every overlooked call, every headline trying to divide her from her peers, Caitlyn Clark has stood firm. She's been mocked, doubted, and targeted, but never broken. Instead, she's turned resistance into fuel, transforming pressure into performance and hate into history. Sold-out arenas, record-breaking viewership, global sponsorships. She's not just carrying the WNBA, she's redefining it. This isn't about one player anymore, it's about a movement built on confidence, courage, and unshakable belief. The NBA's biggest stars can see it. She's not a side story, she's the story. And the numbers don't lie. Every night she steps on the floor, more people tune in, more fans show up, and more critics are forced to admit that what they're watching is once-in-a-generation magic. Caitlyn Clark has already broken through every wall that was meant to hold her back. She's not chasing the spotlight anymore. She is the spotlight. And for those still doubting her, for those still trying to downplay her name, the truth is simple. You can't stop what's already in motion. Because legends aren't built in comfort. They're built in chaos, under pressure, in the fire. And Caitlyn Clark has faced all 3 and come out shining brighter every single time. This isn't just the rise of a superstar. It's the beginning of an era, the Caitlyn Clark era.